Is it a possibility the Phoenix Suns don't have any big moves in front of them?
So what does
Can I just say that?
What does that look like? Like, let's just focus on Vogel for a second. If they're keeping Frank Vogel, is yesterday the last we're going to hear of it until camp next year? Is it just like
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, we told you that we thought Frank did a good job. What's
That's
the problem?
right.
Right? I mean,
James Jones got up there and said Frank did a great job.
Great job. So, and I don't even again, I feel like I have to keep saying this. I don't think Frank Vogel did a bad job this year. He might not be the right fit for this team. That there might be something to that. I don't think he did a bad job, and I don't think firing him all of a sudden fixes everything.
Yeah, can I just say this right now? I don't know. I have no idea. I would know based on earnings. I would if I were one of the players and I were in that locker room. Can I tell you right now? I would know. There's no doubt about it. And the players know whether or not Frank Vogel is the guy for them going forward. And, frankly, it's one of the things that I'm most discouraged about because I don't think it was Frank Vogel's fault. I don't. I'm with Charles Barkley on this one right here, base earnings. I believe it is the player. Blame the player. Have you heard that before in the past, by the way? Yes, you have. Blame the player. Players win games.
You bring up the players, and by the timing of this, it's going to be really hard for me, Wolf, if they fire Frank Vogel in a week now or something, for me to not think one or more of the players is like, no, he's not the right fit. Right? I mean, with the timing of this, and again, I appreciate the transparency and having the press conference yesterday. The timing is it's just a little odd, but I mean, I would rather they had it than that they didn't have it because they didn't have to have it. But now, if you're gonna tell us that Frank Vogel did a good job this year, and you certainly don't seem to have any plans to move on from him, if you then move on from him in a week or two after you've met with the players or the other coaches, what am I supposed to assume? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing like let's just play this out. If Frank Vogel gets fired next Wednesday or something, I'm not going to be sitting here thinking like, wow, Grayson Allen got him fired. I don't think so. It's going to be it's going to have to be one of the big three or all of the big three.
Can I just tell you right now, it's one of the most disappointing things that I'm not hearing enough. I'm not hearing enough from the players. I'm not hearing enough from the big three. I'm not hearing enough from my smoldering Devin Booker that I love and respect. I'm not hearing enough from him in regard to just saying, you know what, blame us. Accountability. It was all us. We were the guys that were out there on the floor, and we were competing right now. This is just me, brothers. This is just me. I would want to get in front of every camera I possibly could. And I know that guys that I have played with in the past, guys I have a ton of respect for as well, true competitors, they want to get in front and be accountable in front of everybody. And I just kind of feel like right now I'm hearing way too much silence from the big three. And I realize they've already talked. They talked after the game. I understand that. For me, Bradley Beal as well.
Beal talked at the media availability.
That's exactly right. But I'm not hearing enough.
Yeah, it's sort of just the nature of the way this is set up because I feel like that would be the same with any team. The season ends, you have the sort of the locker clean out day or whatever you want to call it, and then you don't really have to hear from these guys again, or they don't have to talk again. So I'm trying not to read anything into that, but I just keep coming back to how great it would be to hear from them. Yeah, no, you heard what Matt said. You heard what James Jones said. Yeah, that's how we feel too. If that's the case, then yeah, I mean, this year was really disappointing, and I'm not sure that just running it back next year is going to win you a title, and I still think that needs to be the goal. But if I know that the players, especially the key players, are on board with this too, then that paints this in a completely different light to me.
The only thing that makes me think there's no way in the world Frank Vogel's getting fired. Two things. Number one, Frank Vogel himself saying, I've got the full support of Matt Ishbia.
Yeah.
He said that again. If you want to play that, he said that with conviction.
But that, I mean, you could always say that that was April 27th or whatever.
Yeah, no, that was, to me, that was important right there.
Coach, obviously here lately you've been talking about year one, build, year one, learning each other. How confident that you'll get a year two to be able to build off of that?
Very.
Okay.
I got the full support of Matt Ishbia.
Okay. So, okay.
Man, you just the way you said that, I got full support of Matt Ishbia, right?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, man. That was different.
it was pretty
For
definitive.
Me, that was definitive.
But as we've seen in sports, if he got fired on May 20th or something, it could be like, yeah, he had the full support of Matt Ishbia. That was a month ago.
Then it's interesting to hear James Jones say Frank did a great job.
Yeah, here he is. Here's James Jones at the presser yesterday.
I thought Frank did a great job, given the circumstances. We assembled a really talented team, guys from, primarily three scorers. And whenever you're trying to get guys to adjust and adapt their games, there's a transition time. It's sometimes a struggle, but I thought he did a great job this year. You look at our record, I think Matt talked about it, 49 wins compared to mid 40s last year. It was a tough grind with the lack of continuity and health. But we won 49 games, and we were in the playoffs against a really good Minnesota team that just was a better team than us. So I thought he did a tremendous job. I thought the staff did a great job. I thought the players did a really good job, just not good enough to reach our goals.
That comment right there makes me think that Frank Vogel is indeed coming back, right? Frank Vogel's comment himself and then James Jones right there. Because the one thing you and Matt Ishbia are going to do before you actually go out in front of the basketball universe and have a press conference, you're going to say, make sure whatever you do, you don't say, he did a great job. Whatever you say, come up with something else. But the one thing you're not going to say is he did a great job. Okay, James, you understand? We're not going to say, oh, Frank did a great job. He was unbelievable. He did a great job. Why? Because then you're going to fire him?
I would say it does feel like after watching that press conference twice now, they don't want to fire him. I will say that I felt like was pretty definitive. I don't think James Jones necessarily wants to fire Frank Vogel. I think Frank Vogel probably does have the support of Matt Ishbia. So again, if he ends up getting fired, it's going to come back to, did he lose the locker room? I mean, that's what it's going to come back to.
Yeah, and you know what it's going to be too is then all of a sudden it's going to be, how did he lose the locker room? Like, you're going to be asking all these players, how? What happened? Why?
Yeah. Well,
why did he lose the locker room?
These are suddenly a very important couple days for the Suns, I would say, because this, more than maybe ever, what you always say if you have to tell the truth is now. Like, everybody's got to be completely open and honest in these exit interviews, right? If you don't like playing for him, you better say it now, because the worst thing, I think, would be you keep him, and then like 3 weeks into the season next year, you fire him. Like, either keep Frank Vogel or don't keep Frank Vogel.
Listen, Frank had a very difficult task in front of him right now. He's trying to blend a lot of different people. His roster was in a state of flux constantly. It was very difficult for him. And, he did his best. That's what you're going to say.
Yeah, exactly.
What you're not going to say is he did a great job.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't say that.
That's fair, but
Okay.
they did.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.